this is what I really don't like about the media. No, he didn't.
He did not.
You don't have to move me to not like Donald Trump.
And if you ever put her into the field of battle, she'd be the first one to chicken out.
It's counterproductive. I mean, the number of Trump people you talk to who talk about the media and giving them any ammunition like this.
You know, just don't lie to me.
What's going on, guys? We got to talk about the latest, greatest hoax by the radical left, okay? Because these guys love to just make effectively anything up and go completely Trump deranged at every chance they get. Now, they obviously don't want to accept the fact that the credibility that they've lost is totally on them for making up these fake hoaxes, but you even have people on the left who've been criticizing them lately. You might have seen my previous video with Anna Kasparian going off about leftists saying that there's going to be internment camps, and they're still idiots saying that.
You feared that if Donald Trump would win this race, you and others like you would be thrown in internment camps. You said the same about Muslims and Arabs if Donald Trump won. Do you regret those comments?
No, I don't regret those comments. And I'm going to be very clear.
You really think you would be thrown into an internment camp? You sitting
Neil,
U.S. Congresswoman.
My concern.
That's what
I said it as a joke. No, let me be very clear on this, and I want to be very clear on this. I said it half sarcastically. Donald Trump has been very clear that he is going to go what he calls the enemy from within. I think we're all Americans, and you can disagree agreeably. He names his enemies by name. I do not think it is okay to say someone should have 8 barrels pointed at their face. And I think I have been
warned. Wait a minute. In everything I looked at, Congresswoman, he never mentioned the word internment camp. So what made you take it to that level? If you criticize his language, that's pretty inflammatory language in and of itself.
He has talked about detention camps. He has talked about banning Muslims. He did. One of the first things he tried to do when he became president.
So you stand by that remark. You stand by the internment camp remark. And was that to put fear in voters' minds in your state?
Okay, Neil, let me finish. He has talked about detention camps.
But now you have Bill Maher, who himself has been a little bit red-pilled. Now, he's still a Trump deranged lunatic, make no mistake, but he's a little bit more red-pilled because he sees that, well, Trump didn't say this and that and the third, and it makes the media look crazy and Trump deranged themselves. Isn't it funny that somebody who is Trump deranged can also spot somebody more Trump deranged than them? That's exactly what's happening here. Take a look.
What do you make of the statement? I woke up today to the headline that Trump had called for a firing squad for Liz Cheney. And this is what I really don't like about the media. No, he didn't.
He did not.
You don't have to move me to not like Donald Trump.
He says so many shitty things. Why do you have to do that?
And by the way, if you Pete don't realize it, well, here's what he said. He's criticizing him for being a war hawk. Yeah. I mean, she is Dick Cheney's daughter. He said, she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay. Let's see how she feels about it. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, we'll send tens of thousands of troops right into the mouth of the enemy. Now, of course, he expresses himself horribly. He has to add she's a stupid person because he's a moron.
Well, Trump knows what it's really like from Vietnam.
Okay. But just to be clear, this is exactly what hippies always said. This is exactly what peaceniks always said. This is Fortunate Son, the song. It's like, you know what? It's very easy to sit in your building and send young men to die. Apropos of Ukraine.
Yes.
Because, I don't know, that war doesn't look like it's going in the right direction.
Not at all, no.
But just so, you know, just don't lie to me. I don't like Donald Trump. Don't lie to me and tell me he wants in front of a firing squad. He was saying something that, by the way, if it came out of the mouth, some of it, not the stupid part, again, sounds like what hippies used to say about Bill, not sending people to, yes.
I agree with you on the lying. I mean, that is ridiculous and absurd and counterproductive. But when did Donald Trump ever criticize a war hawk? the way a hippie did. I mean, was it during Vietnam? He got out of going to Vietnam, but he didn't criticize the war or the Iraq war.
Jamie, I'm not defending Trump.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't lie to me.
I agree with that. I mean, that's just a distortion.
It's
counterproductive.
I mean, the number of Trump people you talk to who talk about the media and giving them any ammunition like this. I mean, I saw headlines, chyrons on television this morning saying that Donald Trump had said that Kamala Harris should be executed. I mean, at the beginning of that kind of rambling, incoherent thing, she said, give her a weapon, which is not typically something you do to someone.
And again, the spirit of it is something that if someone with the blue hat said it, people would nod along on the left. Yes, exactly.
There's plenty of things he says that you don't have to invent them.
Can I just say one thing? And I agree with you. All those criticisms are fair. But there's been a lot of violence, as Nancy Pelosi knows, and a lot of threats.
Now, Jamie Raskin shouldn't have even been here because this dummy idiot is basically saying the same thing that Trump has said about the election in an additional clip where he says that, yeah, we'll accept election results if they're fair. Now he's getting ready to deny the election. But when Trump says similar stuff, they act like he's some sort of election-denying lunatic.
When I say we will support a free and fair election, no, we're not going to allow them to steal it in the states or steal it at the Department of Justice or steal it with any other election official in the country. If it's a free and fair election, we will do what we've always done. We will honor it.
So
Trump literally says the same thing all the time, and they act like, well, how come you can't just say you'll accept the election results no matter what? And it's like, what the hell? Who the hell would do that? That's stupid. Who would participate in anything, find out that it was rigged or something was unfair about the process, be it a video game, a board game, getting a job, like taking a test for school and you find out it was rigged? Why the hell would you just accept it if you found out something was wrong with the process? These people are stupid, guys. But I appreciate the fact that so many folks on the right and on the left clap back at the nonsense of this, because spokesperson for the Trump campaign, Caroline Leavitt, one of the most based women on the campaign trail, really destroyed this anchor talking about this whole Liz Cheney hoax.
You want to talk about violence against political opponents? Let's talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a threat to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to Hitler, one of the worst mass murderers in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political violence that has led to 2 heinous assassination attempts on President Trump's life that, by the grace of God, he was able to escape, and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political violence because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, have got this country into is not political violence. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Yet, of course, after those attempted assassination attempts on the former president's life, his opponents reached out to him and said they do not accept political violence. That has been a key difference there. I do want to play you.
No, please. His opponents are saying to this very day the same rhetoric that led to those 2 assassination attempts. The second attempted assassin on President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a threat to democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie. And yes, you will take political violence like we have seen in 2 instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a Nazi. That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And I am so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. And that's why today in 2024, President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016, because people don't trust the media and they're not buying the Harris campaign's closing argument that he's some great threat to our democracy, because they lived under him for 4 years as president, and our democracy and our country was stronger than it is today.
You also had based Scott Jennings. Okay, Scott Jennings has been wiping the floor with CNN as of late. Hopefully he doesn't get too frustrated and leave CNN, because I know we just saw what happened with that Washington Post reporter, Hugh Hewitt. But Scott Jennings just totally destroyed this entire woke panel of leftists over on CNN. Take a look.
I personally think that any fair review of this remark is really simple. He was making a crude, if well-worn argument that often comes from the anti-war left, and that I heard repeatedly during the Bush years, about politicians who vote to authorize wars being forced to fight in them. It's called the chicken hawk argument. It's been around probably since Vietnam or maybe before. So I actually disagree with the argument. I think it's a bumper sticker way of dealing with complex matters of national security. So here I am, a Republican who disagrees with Trump, but I'm absolutely appalled by the disinformation about what he actually said. It started with a deceptively edited clip this morning and took off like wildfire. He did not call for her to be put in front of a firing squad. That did not happen. Even his most persistent critics, some of them today, have admitted as much. I think this episode, Wolf, to be honest, goes on the ever-expanding bonfire of credibility of the hysterical anti-Trump left. And I think the people pushing this today, honestly, Wolf, are one of the principal reasons I'm going to wind up voting for Trump. I don't like, if you want to criticize this man, there's plenty. You do not have to make things up to criticize Donald Trump. And I think some of it, frankly, was spun up to distract from a terrible jobs report, if you want my honest opinion.
The funny thing about all of this stuff is I really believe that a lot of this is backfiring, because I really think a lot of folks, if they're in the middle after everything that's happened to Trump at this point, that means that they know that the media is biased and lying. Because if you listen to the media, then it's a no-brainer. You can't support Trump. It'll just be stupid. It'll be like you're a crazy person. That'd be like you're evil. You're a Nazi, as a lot of the politicians, including Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and even some folks in the media have stated. But if you're still kind of fence-sitting or leaning towards Trump, that means that you've lost faith in the fake news media, because they're fraudulent. And that's how things should be, guys. That's one of the reasons this channel exists. It's one of the reasons it needs to exist, because these people just make anything up, blow anything that they can out of proportion. On this channel, I try to be as factual as possible and make sure you guys have the information that you need. And I strongly encourage you to not just believe everything I say. Do independent research, especially if you're skeptical and say, oh, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Okay, do independent research. And I challenge you to come to the comments and tell me if I'm wrong or if I get something wrong. Feel free. But the fake news, they don't have that option available. They don't want to be challenged. They're certainly not going to invite you on their platforms to speak to them or anything like that. I'm here to make sure that the facts are out there. So, of course, the Democrats are the ones doing wrong primarily. But if the Republicans turn around and start goofing off and screwing up, or if they get people like Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney and all these freaking Republican weirdos up in there, then yes, I'm going to call them out. Nikki Haley's a prime example. Never liked this lady. You're not going to find any videos on this channel where I'm like, you know what? Nikki Haley is a great candidate. So I don't support just all Republicans, all conservatives, no matter what. It depends on if the shoe fits, and it does fit with Teflon Don, regardless of all these fake, phony media hoaxes, all these falsehoods that they keep perpetuating. Then they want to sit up here and talk about mis and disinformation. Get the hell up out of my face. Trump's going to win in the next couple days. Get out there and vote. Let's make it happen. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
But if you gave Liz Cheney a gun and put her into battle facing the other side with guns pointing at her, she wouldn't have the courage or the strength or the stamina to even look the enemy in the eye. She wouldn't have. She sits back in Washington. Oh, we ought to go and attack Iran, Iraq. We're going to attack everybody. That's why I broke up with her. All she wanted to do is go to war with everybody. Because she, like Kamala, is a stupid person. It's easy for her to say she wants to start wars from the comfort of her nice home or her father's lavish home that he got from killing a big portion of the Middle East. You know that, right? They want to draft your kids to die in wars, and they will never fight themselves. Liz Cheney wouldn't fight. I'll go with her. I'll go to the Middle East. I'll go wherever she wants. and we'll fight. She doesn't have the guts to fight. She's all talk and no action.